we write out, probably have a dozen of them now, long-term one sentence prediction. And, it's very hard to get something down to one sentence. And so the reason for that, for those one sentence predictions, is we're trying to encapsulate everything we've learned from the science, turn it into an investment observation, and then back into the stocks from there. Now, not all of them will be right, obviously, but that's the game of investing. So I'll give you a couple of them just so you better understand what we're talking about here. So one sentence prediction is that somewhere in the world, HVACs will be subsidized. HVAC meaning air conditioning. That really hasn't happened in the past, but the excessive heat waves are and will be so severe that in countries that are underpenetrated on air conditioning, the governments are going to have to do something to protect the citizenry. Governments cannot have death on their doorstep that could have been prevented. Heat waves can drive significant deaths for seniors and younger children. We have seen that the last few years grow. You have countries with low single-digit penetration of air conditioning, like India, with extremely high temperature problems that are also growing. Fahrenheit temperatures last couple of years in some regions, 125 degrees, 5%, 6% air conditioning penetration in the country. So, we have forgotten, because most of what happens in developed markets now is through tax incentives, basically. But, throughout government structures in history, there have been handouts of physical things to the people. And I'm not saying they're going to go around and hand you an air conditioner. It might be a ticket or a tax credit or some type of rebate to get one. But I think that that's going to happen. And you only need to look at COVID to grasp what a government will do to protect its people when there's a significant health risk, which is to say, we will spend any money necessary when there's a significant health risk to the people. And heat represents that. And one more add-on there. Right before the election, President-elect Trump said that if elected, he would provide a tax deduction for generators. And that is an example of what I'm saying is likely going to happen with air conditioning. I'll give you two more. So one is that water will have a price on it. When you say that out loud, sounds kind of obvious, except that it's not a thing. And, you can't name another commodity where we don't know the price of it. In fact, we know the price of, ethereal cryptocurrencies, which aren't even real commodities, and we know their prices, and yet we don't know the price of water. So people only see the price of water through their local water bill or buying a case of water at the store, but there is no regional or universal price of water. And by the way, I don't think there's going to be a universal price of water like there is of oil, because water is very regional. But there could certainly be regional prices of water. And the reason that you want a price of water is because once it's better understood how much it costs, then the efficiency and the reuse and the savings will increase, because we will become more alert to how much it costs. And the idea here is that droughts, water scarcity, plus population growth, and higher growth of middle class uses much more water than emerging class, all will drive up the price of water to multiples of what it is today. If you average the U.S. water bill across the country, it's like half of 1 penny a gallon. It's very hard to know what the right price of water is, but I'm pretty sure half of 1 penny a gallon is not it. And the way that you can say that is when water is shipped in and tanked in to crisis areas, that is the real price of water. So when farmers need to have water shipped in, when a city needs to have water shipped in, that is the real price of water. And that price of water Obviously, again, it varies by situation, but it is not half a cent a penny. So I think water will have a price on it. And last thing on the long list of prediction is that wastewater is going to be a major, major focus of the world. And the way that you know that this is true, the short code, if you will, is that it has already been rebranded as reclaimed water, especially in U.S. Regulatory and government circles where you read these long reports. All of a sudden, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, I started to notice this trend of wastewater. It was almost like find and replace happened. Wastewater was taken out, reclaimed water was put in. And the reason for that is quite clear. It's that we're trying to rebrand something that's very, gross to think about. And reclaimed water sounds nicer than wastewater. Why is it being rebranded? Because they're telling you the use of it is going to become very important. So to get people more accustomed to using it, we probably need to rebrand it. And that, again, is a result of drought and water scarcity. And if you can't suddenly snap your fingers and increase the supply of water, then you have to reuse the water that is already available. Wastewater is already available. It just needs to be treated carefully and can be used in any number of ways before you even get to the point of reusing it for drinking. But that is also on the table and is the case in some countries, has been proposed in some areas here as well. But before you get to that, you can get the crops and a million other things you can do with it. So wastewater, I think, is another good example of long-term prediction.